Hola friends, hello everybody, how are you all? Today in this video, we are going to be speaking about the different modes of transports that we have in the world. Friends, have you ever wondered how do we call them in Spanish? So let's learn. First of all, we have the aeroplane. And how do you say an aeroplane in Spanish? It's called avión. Avión. You will be wondering how to learn the pronunciation. I have a trick for you here. You can always note down this translation of these words in Hindi and then you can learn from there. The pronunciation in Hindi and then you can learn from there. So this is avión. Avión. That's the pronunciation for an aeroplane in Spanish. Now we have ambulancia. This is an ambulance. It is called ambulancia. I'll repeat it for you. Ambulancia. How do you write that in Hindi now? Ambulancia. If you will write it in Hindi and later you read it, you will always be able to pronounce it correctly. So always remember to write down the pronunciation in Hindi. Ambulancia is the ambulance for you in Spanish. The next one now. Now we have in front of us a bicycle. And how do you say a bicycle in Spanish? It's called bicicleta. Bicicleta. I'll write it in Hindi. Bicicleta. Repeat that with me. It's a bicicleta. That's a bicycle for you in Spanish. What do we have now? We have a boat. And how do you say a boat in Spanish? A boat is called un bote. 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 Un bote. That's a boat. Okay, the famous yellow school bus. How do you say a bus in Spanish? A bus is called an autobús. Autobús. Notice the accent on you here. That means you have to stress on this part of the word. It becomes autobús. Autobús. I'll write that in Hindi for you. Autobús. That's a bus for you all in Spanish. What do we have next? We have a fancy blue car. And how do you say a car in Spanish? Car is called a coche. It's a coche. Coche. It's a coche. That's a car in Spanish. We have the next one, the helicopter. And how do we call a helicopter in Spanish? A helicopter is called helicóptero. Helicóptero. Now, if you will notice, although it begins with an H, we don't pronounce the H in Spanish. H is always silent in Spanish. So it is called an helicóptero. 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 That's a helicopter for you all in Spanish. Helicóptero. What do we have here now? We have our red line of the metro. This is the metro. How do you call a metro in Spanish? Metro is called the same way. Metro. Metro. How do you write it? Metro. That's a metro for you in Spanish. Metro. What do we have next? We have a motorbike, a motorcycle. And how do you call a motorcycle in Spanish? Motocicleta. It's a motocicleta. I'll write that for you. Motocicleta. That's a motorcycle for you in Spanish. Motorcycle, the short form is also moto. So you can also simply say moto in Spanish or motocicleta. Now friends, what do we have here? We have a rocket. And how do you call a rocket in Spanish? Rocket is called cohete. 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 Are you noticing that I'm not saying the sound of an H? So I'm not saying cohete, but I'm just saying cohete because H is silent in Spanish. Cohete. That's a rocket for you all in Spanish. Now we have a very beautiful ship. And how do we call a ship in Spanish? It's called a barco. Barco. I'll repeat it. Barco. Barco. That's a ship for you all in Spanish. Barco. Now we have a taxi. And how do you say a taxi in Spanish? It's the same, but it becomes taxi. Taxi. You will notice that I'm not saying t, but I'm saying t. There is no t in Spanish. So taxi becomes taxi. Taxi. That's a taxi for you all in Spanish. Now we have a train. And how do we call a train in Spanish? A train is also called a train. Train. Notice the sound of T. T. It's not train, train. And the R has to be stressed. In Spanish, the sound of an R is very, very strong. So you will say train. Train. That's a train for you in Spanish. Okay, now we have a truck. And how do we call a truck in Spanish? A truck is called camión. That's a camión. I'll repeat it. Camión. Camión. That's a truck with an accent on the alphabet O. So we have to stress it. Camión. Camión. That's a truck in Spanish. Okay friends, since now we all know how to call the transports in Spanish, let's play a game. So in this game, you all have to guess the right transport. Can you all see this image? Which one do you think it is? Is it a train? Is it a metro? Or is it a bote? Yes, you're all right. It is a metro. Muy bien. Okay. Now I have this shiny yellow bus for you all. What do you think this is? Is this an avión? Is it a coche? Or is it an autobús? Oh yes, you're all right. It is an autobús. Correcto. Now what do we have next? We have a nice shiny blue car. And how do you call a car in Spanish? Coche, camión, or cohete? Yes, you're all correct. It is a coche. Coche. Now, what do we have? We have a helicopter. And how do we call a helicopter in Spanish? Metro, coche, or helicóptero? Which one do you think it is? Is it a... No, not a metro. No, not a coche. Correcto, helicóptero. That's correct. It's an helicóptero. Now, I have this motorbike for you all. Can you all guess the name of the motorbike in Spanish? Avión, motocicleta, or coche? That's an easy one. Yes, you're right. It is a motocicleta. Motocicleta. Okay, and now I have a taxi for you. And how do we say a taxi in Spanish? Cohete, taxi, or autobús? Yes, taxi is taxi in Spanish. So it is taxi. Now we have a fast moving rocket for you. And how do we call a rocket in Spanish? Cohete, metro, or avión? Did you all say avión? No, it's not an avión. Yes, cohete it is. It's a cohete because it's a rocket and a rocket is called cohete. Now I have a truck for us. And how do we call a truck in Spanish? Autobús, coche, or camión? Yes, you all guessed it right. It is a camión. Camión. Now we have a ship. And how do we call a ship in Spanish? Autobús? No. Barco or helicóptero? Yes, it's a barco. That's correcto. Barco. Now, can you all guess what this is? Is it a coche? No. Is it a metro? No. Yes, you're right. It's a bote. 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 Now, can you all guess what this is called in Spanish? How do we say a cycle? Helicóptero, cohete, or bicicleta? Right, it is a bicicleta. Correcto. Now we have an ambulance. And how do we call an ambulance in Spanish? Coche? That's an easy one. Ambulancia or taxi? Yes, you're right. It's an ambulancia. Ambulancia. Okay, now I have another game for you. In this game, you also have to identify the right transport. This is going to be a lot of fun. Let's try this game. You have to identify out of these pictures what is an ambulancia. Which one? This one, or this? Yes, you're right. An ambulancia is an ambulance in Spanish. So that's correct. Ambulancia. Moving on. Can you identify metro in this? Which one do you think is a metro? Yes, you're right. This is the metro. Metro is called metro in Spanish. Now what do we have? We have a coche. Can you all figure out which one is a coche? This one? No. This is not a coche. Yes, you're right. This is a coche. Coche. Okay. Now friends, how about a bicicleta? Can you all tell me which one is a bicicleta? Is this a bicicleta? This one? No. Yes, you're right. This is a bicicleta. Correcto. Now, can you all tell me where is the avión in these pictures? Avión. Yes, you're right. This is called an avión. Okay. Now I need you to identify helicóptero. Which one is an helicóptero? That's an easy one. Helicóptero is the red helicopter we have here. Helicóptero. How about a barco? Which one is a barco? This one? No. This one? No. Yes, you're all right. This is a barco. Barco. Okay friends, now it's time to identify the cohete. Cohete. Which one is a cohete? This one? This one or that one? Yes, you all got it right. This is a cohete. How about an autobus now? Can you all figure out which one is autobus? That's quite simple, right? This bright yellow bus behind me is the autobus. That's correct. Autobus. Okay, can anybody tell me where is the train? That's not too difficult. Can you all tell me where the train is? That's right. This is el tren. Train. And now please identify a motocicleta for me. Can you tell me which one it is? This one? No, this is not a motocicleta. This one? Yes, you all got it right. Es una motocicleta. Motocicleta. Alright friends, I hope you enjoyed learning transports with me. And I hope to see you back again soon. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.